Now, there's both know, if he were still alive, would be here today. A great fighter for human rights throughout the world and a devoted believer in the cause of freedom for the people of Iran and the cause of the NCRI, PMI, MEK. And that is my dear and our dear beloved friend of blessed memory, the Honorable John S. McCain, Senator from Arizona. Now, thank you. Thank you. God bless his soul. You know, I'm spiritual enough to believe that he heard that up there. And thanks you. John could not be here, of course, today. He left us last August. But he was in Ashraf 3 in April of 2017. And I want to bring back to you the words he said. He would be so astounded and impressed by what has become of Ashraf 3 today. And here's what John said on that day to people who were here. You have stood up and fought and sacrificed for freedom, for the right to determine your own future, for the rights that are given by God. I thank you for being an example to the whole world that those who are willing to fight and sacrifice for freedom always will achieve it. End of quote from John McCain. I'm proud to bring his words to you because they are true. The battle to liberate Iran from the radical religious dictators who control it today is a battle that not only has great significance for the people of Iran, but for the cause of freedom throughout the world. And if I may go one step further and add this word about what a new Iran will mean to the world. One of the great and really unnecessary conflicts that destabilizes our world is the battle that was begun by radical extremists who have exploited and expropriated the religion of Islam. It's created conflict within Islam. It's created conflict between Muslims and non-Muslims. It's created bigotry and anti-Muslim feeling in the non-Muslim world. It all began, it began with thinkers long ago, radical thinkers, but it really began with the revolution in Iran. And it will end when those who led that revolution, who have imposed a radical religious dictatorship on Iran, who have carried out aggression in countries throughout the region, who have supported terrorists, Islamic extremist terrorists, Shia and Sunni, regardless, because they agree with the extremism and radicalism. The day when the unnecessary conflict between Islam and the rest of the world ends is the day that the radical religious dictatorship in Iran falls. And that is the larger cause for which you all are fighting every day. And it is not just that you represent an alternative to the ayatollahs, the mullahs in Iran today. You represent the right alternative. And it begins as every movement must. A movement doesn't happen automatically. A movement needs a strong, principled, collaborative leader. And that is what you have, thank God, in Mrs. Maryam Rajavi. She is able, she is principled, she is visionary, she is selfless. She cares for every one of you. Yesterday, my wife and I walked through the exhibition here, the 120,000 martyrs, with Mrs. Rajavi. And she looked at those, it was really like walking through a Holocaust museum. And she looked at every one of the faces there as if they were members of her family. That is the way she feels about every one of you and about every citizen of Iran. You are blessed to have such a leader, and it makes it that much easier for my friends from the United States and around the world to stand with you, as we will until victory is secured. Looking at this movement's history, it's remarkable that you fought both the Shah's dictatorship and then have stood against the mullahs as well, because your North Star is freedom, is human rights. Ashraf 3 is the best testament to this fact, to the fact that this movement presents a viable alternative to the regime. So let me once more say in conclusion to others in the world who would preach appeasement, who would disillusion themselves, who would allow themselves to be entrapped in foolish, wasteful discussions with the mullahs. It's time to stand firm against the regime. It's time to stand with the people of Iran. It's time to stand for the people's freedom. It's time to bring a government to Iran that will reject claims of leadership based on heredity or religion. The people of Iran deserve a government that is accountable to them, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And together, yes, we can. We are ready. Hazer, Hazer, Hazer.
I am very happy to be here this weekend. It's very special. I know my husband, Joe Lieberman's been at many, and I've only come to a few, and this is the first time I've been here. And this place is gorgeous. I wanted to quickly take you on a little discussion about colors, which represent darkness, the black, and lightness. When I think about darkness, I think about where I was born in Prague, Czechoslovakia, to two parents who had fled, my mother from Auschwitz and Dachau, my father from slave labor camp, and they made it, so I represent someone who all my life I knew, I read, I heard about all the stories of terror and execution and deaths, the darkness, and I was born to them. And when I walked through the museum yesterday and I saw the darkness, the numbers of destruction, and I heard the voices of those who shared their stories from prison, from losing members of their family, their communities. And I saw the light in these eyes. And I'm not trying to be biased. Everyone had light, but the women who had light in their eyes struck me so clearly. They were so strong. Their lightness just came shining out. Their smiles, their transparency. And it made me say to them, you are very, very special. And part of what we need And part of what we need in this world today is more light. And you have to be aware, and you probably already are, that every time you send light going out from you, It changes the darkness. And sometimes we're in certain situations where we're afraid to even shed light because it also shows our faces and we don't want to show them at that moment. But you know what? You're gonna shed this light out to such an extent that they're gonna have no darkness to hide behind. You're gonna be the light that lights up the world. And as my husband and I know have discussed many times in the past, when you're thirsty and you drink water, it disappears after you drink enough. But if you light a candle to get away from the darkness, your light can be shared over and over and over again. So be brave and keep lighting up. Thank you.